Welcome to Movie Mavericks, where we talk smack about movies. We're still going with that catchphrase? I don't know. Guess we are. We're just rolling with it. And today, we've got a very special episode talking about a very special movie. No, it's not an anime movie. It is an animated movie, though. We are talking about the French stop-motion film, My Life as a Zucchini, or as you may have originally known it in French, My Life as a Courgette, because courgette is the French word for zucchini, and that's a little fact for you. But yeah, anyway, we are going to talk about My Life as a Zucchini, a film that we saw just a couple days ago, and a film we both really enjoyed. Actually, I saw the film on its opening premiere in the United States at the New York International Children's Festival, and that was a packed audience. Full house for the night, and a very welcoming applause for the film. Seems everyone there was really into it, and it was a really great time and a great way to experience the film. But there really isn't much to talk about in terms of the theater experience for our screening that we saw together, because there were pretty much just old people in the theater.
There was like two sets of like old people just watching the movie, and that was kind of it.
Yeah. Cool to see film goers going out to this movie, but it wasn't a packed house. But we saw it in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, you know. Weren't really expecting a lot of people to see
it. Honestly, probably a lot more people probably went to the English screenings.
That's probably true. Also, you know, it's the middle of the day. We saw it at 2 p.m. Obviously, no kids were going to see it. They're in school. Their spring break doesn't until April.
We saw it on a weekday. I forgot about that.
How can you forget about that? It was fucking 2 days ago. It wasn't even 2 days ago. It was 1 day ago. Oh, whatever. Anyway, so we're not going to go into our theater experience that much. We're just going to jump right into our opinions of the movie. And I quite enjoyed the movie. It is a very dark and in times dark, but it's actually has a very hopeful message and a very emotional, ending, and it's a very moving film about, children who are coming from these bad homes, all finding strength and family in each other, and then how, even though bad things have happened in your life, you can find people who care and love about you and make you stronger, and help you out, and you can find your own happiness, and it's a really cool message for kids, and especially, a very unique situation to show in a children's movie that doesn't get touched upon quite as often as, honestly, it might and could have and should, because there are a lot of kids who probably could relate to the situations that Zucchini and the rest of the kids at the orphanage were in. So this might be a very cathartic and important film for them.
Yeah, I can't agree with all the points you said. The movie itself has a few dark moments and stuff, but overall it's a very hopeful message, and it's kind of pretty much has this whole theme of kind of unity and family, where all these kids from all these different homes, where all their parents are whether in jail, they're dead, or other things, they all are coming together and kind of building a family of their own, despite losing their original families. It's kind of showing this kind of, I guess, through tragedy you can still find hope and live a happy life.
Mm-hmm. I think what I really appreciated about the movie is just the craft of the cinematography and craft of the stop-motion animation. It has this very nice childlike aesthetic, right? And that is really cool for a movie that's tackling these more mature themes. This very childlike crayon-y aesthetic that the movie has. And that's a signature of the director, Claude Barras, who, is known for that kind of style and that clay-like, that kind of childlike quality of his stop-motion animation. We saw a short film of his that very much encapsulated that style, The Genie in a Tin Can of Ravioli, which was funny. A very funny short, that also tapped into this very childlike sensibility, because it's a very silly short. There's this man who works at this ravioli factory. He comes home, he opens a can of ravioli, Genie's in it, gives him 2 wishes. What? Not 3? Nope. With him, it's only 2. And what does he wish for? He just wishes for some nice, simple things. He wishes for a flower bed, and then he wishes for a dinner. And it's just a cute, short film that's very childlike, very innocent, and just has this very charming sense and very child-friendly sensibility. But it doesn't feel like it's dumbed down, or it doesn't feel like it is cynical in the way it presents itself. It just feels like this very honest, childlike tone and feel, which I really appreciate about Claude Barris's work. And that comes through in this film very well, even though the subject matter is a lot more mature, is a lot more grounded. Whereas in Tin Can and Ravioli, it's a little more surrealist. It's a little more, meandering in terms of where the story goes, a little random, so to speak, in terms of where the story goes.
Yeah.
And whereas Zucchini has a focused narrative.
Right.
But all the same, the sensibilities that Barris takes into his short films, he applied it here very well, and it just adds on to the story. And it should be pointed out that Zucchini, this film, is an adaptation of a French autobiography. I assume a lot of the events in the story are based on reality, based on things that had happened. Certainly there are probably some embellishments here and there. And this is a story that has actually been adapted in live action before, back in 2007. But this animated interpretation is where it feels very true to life all the same, in the sense that the emotions feel real. Like, it is a children's movie in terms of, some of the things you expect, but there are these wonderful scenes that are lingering and feel like almost too close to home in, how real they are presented in terms of the emotions of the characters. And that's what makes the movie so relevant and powerful to me.
You can definitely feel a great sense of realism within the movie. It's just this is something that really does happen. Children get abandoned, children have to go into foster homes and all this stuff, and this very much seems like a very accurate depiction of that. And the other, very, interesting thing about this movie that I really liked is that there's never, this overly dramatized conflict in the movie. There is conflict, but it's very much subdued. It feels very realistic. It feels like a real-life problem. It's never, taken to the point where it's, some extreme, suspenseful thing that you would, be some Hollywood-type kind of trope to put into the movie to make it more interesting.
I have to appreciate the craft and efficiency of the storytelling to make me care about these characters, even with only a few short scenes to go on, and make their relationships feel believable. Like Camille and the girl who had an abusive father. The relationship between them is only given, a few minutes of screen time in the movie, but it feels like it has this very satisfying arc to it. And, the relationship between them feels, special. And so when the girl, puts her hair back over her eye, before in the movie Camille, flipped it over, that feels like it means something, and, you feel, the emotion and, what that means. And I just have to appreciate those kind of moments and those kind of subtleties that really define the movie. Probably the most haunting scene is just when all the kids at the orphanage are at the ski resort and they see this mother and the son and they're just staring at them. And we just linger on that shot of them just looking at the mother and son. And it just lingers for a while, it seems. And that says a lot. Why that scene is lingering, them longing for a family, for a parental figure that loves them. That is not said explicitly in the movie, but you can feel that in that scene. And it's just such great filmmaking. I really appreciate it. There's not a lot I can really say about the movie without just spoiling every detail, I feel. And I feel that would be a disservice. What I will say, I really think the English dub was great. Honestly, because the acting in the French version is very understated and subtle, it might be a good idea to seek out the English version and watch that, because while the acting is also similar and also affects in quality, just because you're more familiar with the English language, you'll probably understand the acting and the subtleties of said acting a lot better. And I just love a lot of the performances in the English dubs, especially Nick Offerman as Raymond, the police cop. He was great. I really enjoyed him. But the kid who plays Zucchini, he was excellent, and what really impressed me is that after the screening I was at the New York International Film Festival, they brought the kid who played Zucchini and the girl who played Camille on stage, and they answered some Q&As, and that kid gave some smart answers about voice acting that was like, this character, because they had a model of Zucchini on stage, a stop-motion model, and so he was pointing at the model, and he was saying, this guy is not real. We actors are the people who make these characters real. And it was like, wow, this kid already has a pretty interesting acting philosophy. And he's just a young kid. I am impressed. This guy, I'm interested in the places he will go in his career. So yeah, I was very impressed with the voice actors and the acting in the English dub. G-Kids did a great job. I'm very disappointed on that note because at the film festival premiere, the head of G-Kids was there, and, he was talking, because the Oscars were on that Sunday, how Zucchini was nominated for the Oscar, and how nice it would be if it could win, because Zucchini had already won, like, a award just a weekend prior at a different film festival, at the French version of the Oscars, basically. So, we kind of know how that turned out. And
pretty much, I'm just gonna say here, fuck Zootopia. Screw Zootopia. Zootopia. Honestly, aside from Moana, I didn't watch Moana. But compared to Red Turtle, Zucchini, and Kubo, Zootopia doesn't pale in comparison,
Zootopia does pale in comparison.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Zootopia does pale in comparison. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know, it just goes to show the Academy does not watch the animated films.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I do feel Zucchini is a more deserving film than Zootopia on the level of its filmmaking and in terms of the potency of its storytelling. But I can't say I dislike Zootopia. I enjoyed Zootopia immensely, and I think it was perfectly deserving of the film.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I like Zootopia, but to me, it just feels like another cop-out from the Oscars just to pretty much choose the easy choice. Not choose something that truly deserves it. And this really kind of hit me when I was watching the Oscars, for God knows why, that was the biggest waste of time. But when one of the producers of Moonlight came up for his acceptance speech and said guys, the Oscars are looking out for you. They are looking at all these niche markets. If you believe that you aren't represented by the Oscars, they are looking out for you. They are trying to represent you. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, that's true. If you're not an animated film. It just feels like within the Academy, there's just this whole disparity between how they view live action films and how they're viewing the animated films.
Yeah.
Because even if we looked at the short animated film section, which me and Sid both saw all the short animated films because they're screening worldwide, they chose pretty much the easiest choice, Piper, instead of the Pear Cider film, which was a complex film about alcohol addiction and drug addiction. They choose a film, Piper, which is cute. It's about a cute little bird and stuff, but the message is nowhere near as strong as Pear Cider's.
Yeah, I can agree with that. On the level of technical craft, and there's a lot to love about Piper. But yeah, I mean, there were other films nominated that were more deserving of that award, I felt, and Pear Cider was my pick too, because it was just such an awesomely stylized film.
Such an amazing film. Honestly, if you have 30 minutes, watch that film. It's worth your time. It's just amazing.
Yeah. It strikes me that we haven't really touched upon the plot of Zucchini.
But do you want to go into it?
I don't think we have to. That's what
that's the thing. Essentially, it's about these kids living in a foster home and kind of adapting through the struggles of it, and then eventually, them coming to terms with change in life and pretty much all the different aspects of life as being a family. And that's really all there is to it, but it's done so well. It's executed so well. Visually, it's very, very good. It looks very nice. It's a very simple story in many ways, but in presentation and execution, that's where it's put a cut above the rest.
Indeed, I can't really put it any better. That's a great sum up of the film. I don't really want to get into too many details about Zucchini because, I think a lot of the plot beats, there's no reason to spoil things in this movie.
I mean, it's one of those things that you just have to watch yourself. And I'm pretty sure G-Kids is planning to release it pretty soon on home media.
Yeah.
It's only an hour 6-minute film.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't about an hour, just go watch the film. It's really good.
I'd recommend it, definitely. Yeah. It was a great film. I think it deserves a lot of attention, as much attention as it can, and I'm definitely looking forward to Claude Barris's next feature project.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it.